Welcome to this Cinevision exclusive video. We're going to be looking at a game that I've mentioned on Cinevision before. As I've talked about many times, in the early years of Amstrad Computer User, they had some very good typing games, a cut above the rest. Games like Splatch, Spring on a Thing, Le Mans, and a lot of games by people like Roland Wadilove, who you may remember that name. And this game, NSUB, and it comes from the October 1985 edition of Amstrad Computer User. And as you can see here, here's the listing itself. And they give you a nice breakdown of what's involved in the listing, tells you what's happening and where. And you can perhaps get a hint about how many lines there are of code, because this is the big one. Because if you want a good game, it's going to be quite large, and some of these games are quite large. These were inspired by the Amstrad Computer User Software Competition, where I think they paid £1,000 for some listings. So people would have put a lot of effort and time and soul into these games. And there's two listings, a loader and the game itself, and they put adverts in the middle because, well, breaks stuff a bit. It's not the longest typing ever, but it's still very significant, as you can see. Finding errors in this thing would have been quite challenging. I think it's about 25k in total. And this is the listing for the game itself. There's a lot of symbol commands. They call up characters in the game. These are drawing the graphics, in effect, for various bits of the game. And there's not a lot of data statements in here. You can see some data bits there, but they're not actually data. Well, they are data statements in effect, but they're just holding text. It's not like it's machine code transposed into data statements. You get some of these games where you just end up typing endless numbers, which ultimately what some of these type-ins became. Roland Takes a Running Jump was basically typing in pages and pages and pages of numbers. And I don't know why people would have bothered doing that, because it must have been so tedious. It's bad enough with an average listing like this, where you got a lot of things like character commands and so on, the symbol commands, but yeah, endless data statements and pages of them, 40k or so, I think, for Roland Takes a Running Jump, was a bit mad. So the game has a loading screen. So there's a nice little professional touch there. There is a loader. That's what part of the game or the listing does, and that this will be drawn using those symbol characters. NSUB is loading. Ironically, the is loading bit will take longer to draw than the game will take to load, unless of course you have cassette. You get this nice menu screen with lots and lots of options, and you get instructions in the game as well, which you have to type in, of course. And they're quite nice because, again, the symbols are used to draw the NSUB logo on the top left-hand side. And if you haven't guessed already, it's a submarine game. You patrol underneath the ocean, you shoot the ships, and you avoid enemy submarines. And for these instructions, you can see quite a lot's been thought through. But, of course, it's in the implementation. You can have a lot of text explaining things, but what does it look like? Does it look like a VIC-20 game with things just some kind of basically going around the screen that are pretty poorly defined, or is it something better? We've been warned about the enemy submarines, which are the main thing to avoid in the game, but we'll see that in a minute. It's interesting, this period of games, because this was a way for magazines to give you a game. They didn't cover them out cassettes. They gave you a game to type in, and people were keen on learning stuff from their home computers. In later years, the listings got reduced to a few pages in the back of the magazine, pretty much like Amstrad Action did for its entire run. Amstrad Computer User liked to have these big listings, and Computing with the Amstrad as well. And other magazines for other formats, there were Acorn User, I think, did quite a few type-ins as well, and Roland Wadilove is the name that crops up there as well. So we've got a one-player game, two-player game. It's not two players at the same time. You're not going to get that in a basic game. And you select a rank to start off with. You have to type in your name. And you've got demonstration mode as well. It's quite polished for a game written in basic. Adding your rank doesn't really seem to change anything. You can start off from one point. You're supposed to work your way up. I'm starting off as an able seaman because, well, I've got the badges. And not proper ones, I hasten to add. Okay. And the mini screen colours change each time, and you have to select who's player one and so on. This is a little bit fiddly. You can't start the game until you've selected who is the player, and off we go. And the screen draws, play player one. Very colourful. It looks like an Amsoft game starting off here, and it's not far off. Okay, right, it's pretty apparent as your submarine down the black there jerks along, and the enemy ships go along the top there, and you shoot upwards and to the side. You've got to take out the enemy ships above and avoid the submarines below, and occasionally a bonus thing goes across like that green thing there. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but you've got to shoot it. But do you know what? This is a game typed in from a computer magazine, and look at it. Isn't this a step up from most of your typing games? And here comes the other enemy submarine. Okay, it's chugging a little bit. And the more that happens, the more it chugs. But this isn't bad at all for a game you're typing in effectively for free. And it's not the longest listing in the world either. There's so much going on. You've got these ships sailing above. They're dropping depth charges. You can shoot two ways at once. The enemy submarines come in, and initially they shoot missiles, but they get better, and then they get lasers, and the lasers are quite hard to avoid. Collision detection is, with those, you've got to hit dead on. Any of the enemies, you've got to hit them dead on, or the missile just sails past. I think that's a function of basic, really, unless you're doing kind of machine code stuff in data statements, like that Space Invaders game I looked at in the 30 years of the Amstrad 6128 video. That had superb collision detection, but basically huge chunks of the game's the machine code. This thing is genuinely basic, as in there's hardly any data statements in there, and the data statements that are in there appear to be holding ASCII strings. Oh, it's getting hard down in there. We're still on level 1. You get a bonus at 5,000 points and 1,350. Got to hit him dead on. Got him. We get a sound effect at the end of level 1. And we've got some different baddies this time. They look like tall ships, but they're not. And look how quickly the enemy sub appears this time. They're more on the case. The ships above aren't. Although they're what you have to destroy, the main problem is what's beneath the waves. And there are different depth charges as you go into the game as well that are more powerful, more destructive. At the moment, they kill you if you touch them, but you can shoot through them and destroy them. A good way to destroy the enemy is to get underneath him, because he can't shoot down. So, as yet. So, you can shoot up and get him fairly easily. And if you note the ships above the water, when they cross over the dots on the water, the dots disappear. That is something that happens in the game. And if you go over the seaweed at the bottom, that disappears as well. Again, not something that affects the gameplay. It's just a little thing that the way it's coded in BASIC. You can see when the explosions happen, you get not so much, and there's 2 submarines now. I just destroyed one, but because the way the graphics are defined from symbols, when you destroy something on the water, sometimes you get black edges around it. That's not colour clash. That, again, it's just a coding thing for ease of use. The CPC's got all these symbols that you can use in BASIC, like Pet ASCII, I suppose, and things like that, but you can put them into your games and use them. Yeah, he's got a laser. He's got a laser. And as the levels progress, the laser gets a wider angle to shoot. This could be tricky. There's 2 of them, and I've got to avoid. This game ramps up very quickly. Trouble is, he can instantly shoot me. I don't have a laser. All I've got is missiles. I don't know what happens when the enemies reach the other side. If it's game over, I'm just plodding on here to. I'm just pushing on to complete this level, but it's busy. It's very busy. There is a lot going on here, and yeah, it has slowed down. But I'm not completely. I just find it astonishing you can have a game like this as a type-in. And it's a game you can improve. It's a basic game, right? So I've been shot. You can go into this code, you can adjust it, you can change it. So if you don't like something, go in and fiddle with it. But that's the beauty of a basic type-in, where basically also Amstrad Computer User have told you in the introduction what does what. Which is, again, something missing from later magazines. They're actually saying to you, look, this is what you're actually typing in, and this is what does what, so you can go in and learn. It's only level 3. It really gets hard. I've got, oh, that was my bonus life. That's what that noise was at 5,000 points. Again, nice touch. When you get 5, I'm so shot. My missile's so slow. He's going to shoot up. He's going, oh, that missed. No, this is getting... I'm not going to avoid being shot, am I? Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. Oh. Come on, come on. I can fire. Oh. Bum. You can only fire 1 missile at a time, and when you miss, you can see it coming when they got the lasers, because they're going to hit you. 2 lives left, and you restart the level. Unfortunately, you don't start from the same point. Again, probably a bit much to ask in a basic game, but you can resume from where you were. Just return to the point in the listing where the level starts. Oh, those lasers are really... He's shooting down there. He's not thought to shoot up there. Oh, it's getting messy. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh. Oh, you know, as soon as you miss him, he's going to get you. That's the thing. And this is testament to the power of Locomotive Basic, that you can do this in Basic. And yeah, okay, it's going to be slow in places. But this isn't bad at all. I've played worse Amsoft games, which incidentally were probably also coded in Basic. Little bit of polish. It's a commercial game. Speed up the... stop this flickering when you're moving around. Just speed it up a little bit. A little bit of machine code in there. And this isn't bad. I think if someone had submitted this to Amsoft, or the coder submitted this to Amsoft when the CPC first came out, when they were desperate for games, this just would have gone out as a game. There is, 3D Invaders on the Amsoft label, for example. Countless examples of terrible Amsoft games. Of course, we would be, if this was a commercial game, we'd be criticising it like crazy. But as a type-in, got him. Come on, we're going to get off level 3. I'm only running through this as one go. I've not played this since the 30 years of Amsoft video, and then I hadn't played it for 30 years before that, probably. That's level 3 cleared. Level 4. And we seem to cycle between these tool ships and these other ships. And here come the subs. Oh, I missed him. Yes, got rid of one of him. Quick missile up there. Try to get him. Right, let's try and dispose of the little red submarine here. Missed him. Need to wait here. He's not going to shoot me. Shoot me. Got it, missed. You've got to be dead on. You have to be dead on. He's boxing me into a corner. And this is going to be problematic because I can only shoot up. I cannot shoot down. Can I get past him? I'm not going to touch him. It's the slow motion nature of it is... Now it speeds up. He's flickering like mad up there. No sprites on the CPC. Remember, the basic listing is doing everything. Yep, done that. That was quite straightforward. On to level 5. Oh no, now these are the bombs you can't... Well, they explode and they create a kind of destruction area around them, so you need to keep away from them. Right, okay. Things seem to have speeded up. Oh, I can't, no. No, right, you got to get away from that. Get away from it. I'm really slow. It's homing in on me. Oh. Game over. End sub. Do I have a high score? I've got a high score. I don't have to type my name in because I've already typed my name in. And I've been promoted to warrant officer. Well, do you know what? I've enjoyed end sub. And if you type that in and debugged it and done all that stuff, you'll be pretty pleased with the end result. It's a nearly commercial quality game that, with a few tweaks, a little bit more speed, slightly better graphics, and just get those sprite handling routines sorted out. It's a commercial game, and actually it's quite fun, and there's so much good presentation in it. You can check this out. You can download this from CPC Power and give it a go yourself. Perhaps fiddle around with the basic listing and check out that Amstrad Computer User article as well, because if you're looking to learn basic, what better way than to delve around in a listing like that? For me, it's one of the best Amstrad Computer User type-ins, along with games like Crazy Legs and Splatch, and I think it's jolly good fun for what it is.